Hello, good morning. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Okay, yes. I put the slide on the page, and this week we will start with the OOP. Alright. Coming. Right. And for this session, we have 5 problems. Oops, people coming. Hello. All right. And for this, the last session next week, we will have the test, the offline test for the 2 class at the same time. Uh, okay. All right. I put some overview about the theory about OOP in C++. OOP stands for Object-Oriented Programming, and different from procedure programming. And also have this features, this wrap. How the different when the function is called in procedure programming. It has the function 1, 2, 3, and in the sequence it will call each other. But in OOP, we have different definition about class. We break down with the class, with the name, attribute, and behavior, and the relationship, the reaction and interaction between these class is made sense for the system in OOP. Okay, it's a sample for the classes in a computer social game in the system. They manage the game instructions. Example. And it's how class is often be modeled, visualized when we analyze the entity out there of the system. We call it class name. Normally, it's a noun, and the data with the attribute, and then the function is something is like the verb, the action, the dynamic operation. When this class uh, all right, and these the very simple slides, but I hope it will be useful when we review this, etc. Example, we have a class example with the objects to instant, it's instant, and how we implement in programming. Okay, we create class and we have the variables, and we have the function for this. The example how we call this, how to use this class. It's like a class, a special, um, it's like a data time. So you can create, it's a user-defined data time. When we talk about the data and the function, it's the user-defined, you can define it. And of course, for this case, you can see that there is definition of constructor. We have here, for example, for the circle class, we can create the three instance with different way of constructor. Okay, for its comment, and now we come to the exercises for the lab. The exercise number one. Okay, have a class name integers with variable values, and we have a constructors integers with a parameter int values. And we have the getter and the setter. And what the getter and the setter? And this lab, this exercise is quite simple because it just requires you to implement the getter and the setter for this basic class of integers. Okay, when coming to the getter and setter, there one characteristic of OOP is the encapsulation. Encapsulation is what is the mean in this case when getter and setter, when you cover variable attribute of your class as private inside. So you use a getter and setter to get input and output the variable values from inside and the outside of class. And this definition, they have the keywords encapsulation. Okay, and why people use it is it's already here at the slide number 12. And for this exercise number one, it's quite simple. All right, and I come. If you have any questions to test, the test on the chart here, on the chart board here. Okay, I just move on. This is okay? Everybody, are you still there? Coming to this exercise number two. Hello. Hello. All right. Okay. Coming to exercise number two. We have another class called champion. And here we have a parameter ID, how damage, and we also have a function for calling number of alive champions. We have a status member. What? Okay, have a in the theory you also may have known about the static member status, right? What is status? Maybe someone can tell me what is static in this case. What different? When they have a variable is static integer number applies champions and int damage in half in ID. What the difference when you put a static in front like this? Maybe you can test or someone says something. What's the difference here? And why is that? Is hello, hello. Someone tell me what is status in this case. Alright, since there's one person time on the trust box. Alright, I just share with you a page also. They talk about the status when we declare a member class as status. It means that no matter how many objects of class are created, there's only one copy of static member. Alright, and here's an example. I could put the link, the reference. Alright, and this status. Okay, check. And this status member is thereby an object of the class. It seems like it will be shared by all the other objects. Okay, if we want this happen, just define it as a status member. All right. I put this link at the end of the slide. You can see on screen here, static member of C++ class with the link here from tutorials point. Okay. Now we continue with exercise number 2. Check out. Where's that? Okay. And for this case, we have in the champion class, we have the constructor and this constructor. And we have the function of X with the victim at the champion time. And this champion attack another champion. The victim will lose an amount of health equal to the attacker damage. Return true if the victim die after being attacked. So return value is a boolean, okay? And we have another function, get health, return an int value. And also we have a get number of allied champions, and it is a status. And why is static in this case? All right. Again, come back to the link and check it out because it's relation to the number of allied champions. And this static, so the function uses element or variable also one return a status. So it's not changed from object to object, there's only one instant. All right. And this is explanation for the exercise number 2. Each champion has no ID harm damage value. Okay, and this is the static member, static number of light champions we already mentioned above. And the value doesn't belong to any object. Yes, this apply the definition of a static member. Okay, it doesn't belong to any object. It's like it's a constant, huh? In number of light champions. It belongs to the class itself. It's class is champions class itself. And for the exercise, the number of light champions, the lab function, the previous slide here, is to count the number of existing champion objects into subsystem. And the task for you in this exercise, we write the constructor, deconstruct, and on class method. What are the class method here? Is champion construct and deconstruct, attack, get health, and get number of light champions on the function. All right, it's a task to implement this. All right, and for this, I introduce you the theory about the time of constructor in C++. Normally, we have default constructor of parametric constructor, or copy constructor was a copy. I also put the link at the end of the slide. Also, you can look at this constructor with default argument. And we also have an overloaded constructor. So normally we have a 5, but commonly we have the first 3 constructor, default, parametric, and copy constructor is common. Okay, talk about the destructor. You can have a look at this slide number 16 to have the properties of this destructor. Okay, and for that is for exercise number 2 you implement this function destructor of the champion class. It's not very complicated, right? The people come in on the second. All right. Okay, come in also. Okay, people just come in. All right. Okay, they come in exercise number 3. We have coming back with the integers class. Exercise number 1. Okay, people. All right. And for this exercise, your task is to implement the function, but the special function, the operator, to overload the operator. Assign, equal, greater, less, plus. So for the class can implement the operator, and you overload this. All right, in order to define the operator function from here, you have a look at the other definition of overloading, the function overloading operator, and this case operator overloading. All right, and this set of syntax for you to create return time, class name, and we have an operator. It's like the keyword here and the operator you want to implement. Either assign, equal, etc. And the argument if having, and the body and the function was already happened in style here. All right, and for the exercise, we have the class. Oh, oh no, we done exercise number 3. And but yes, for overloading the function, we just have an example. I show you the link at the end of this slide. Overloading here. First, uploading from Java point as usual from this page. Also have useful link and a tutorial point here. All right. And now we come to exercise number 5. All right, we continue with the class champion again, but for this time we have extra function. Right, we have a virtual member. Remember, we already have a static, and now we have a virtual. What the difference? Let's have a look and think about it. Okay, and we have some function like take physical damage, take magic damage, etc. And here the explanation. And the task is to create the class. Inheritance of champions class. And for this exercise, we have coming to the inheritance characteristics of OOP. Inheritance is one of the most important features of OOP. Okay, we have a subclass and a superclass. Okay, for this case, you create 2 subclass, champion A and champion B, and 2 of them inherit from the subclass. The superclass champion is superclass, champion A and B is subclass. Right, and we will inherit all the members, the feature, and the function from the superclass. For this case, you can see, for example, we define the class vehicle, right? And from this class vehicle, we have some parameter or variable, and also have a function, 3 functions like fuel amount, capacity, apply brakes, for example. And if the other 3 class inherit from class vehicle, for example, class bus, car, truck, it also will inherit the function and also the member inheriting from the class of the superclass. Now we come to the inheritance characteristic of features of OOP. A pace and revival, some called revival or subclass. The same, huh? Right. Some case, okay. We have a different page 1, page 2, and derive from the 2 levels, huh? A from B and B from C, or for this case, derived from 2 other class. Out there we have some other example and model, and also be very complicated, right? It's like a hierarchy tree, And for the reading, I put a lot of things out there about the basics, the blood OOP, and also we have the Vietnamese version here. We have a part 1, part 2, and that's etc. from medium.com from this blog. I think it's easy to read, so I put the link here for you. And also we have the extra about the getter and setter and encapsulation, and how we can generate automatically in the Toon Visual Studio. All right, and so have a look We see out there, we have a lot of tools can support you to get make your course cleaner and better and faster. Especially we get and set it quite simple. And how to implement constructor and deconstructor in C++. Uploading, operator and function, and also the same, but the two have some different way to present the overloading. So from tutorial points and Java points, I put two links here, and you have a look and see the helpful guideline for you to make the exercise. Okay, and I think I skipped something on the Caesar zipper. Caesar zipper. I think so. Okay, Caesar zipper. The exercise number 4. Coming to a definition in cryptography. Caesar zipper. Uh, also known as okay, different name of it, Caesar shipper, the shipper, Caesar's code, or Caesar sieve. That's the way the simple and most widely known encryption techniques is the kind of techniques that people use. For example, here to decode and encoding. You have a sequence of the text or the message you want to send out, A, B, C, D, E, F, for example. And if you have this cipher at the number 3, that means that for the alphabet, okay, A, B, C, D. So that, for example, it's occurrence of E. When it change into the real message you want to hit, and then you decode, we change to shift 3 from the alphabet. For example, D will be A, E will be B, because we have A, B, C, D, right, in the alphabet. So the message will be changed from here. So the way they coding, and they just take the number they ship, the one to ship it, make change. And for this, you can see here we have the constructor with the message with the object we put inside, and the encode and decode. Encode, we have the int, it's a zip. When you want zip 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., the integer, the number of the number you want to zip it, okay, and decode. You decode it. Of course, we need the zip key here. And for this exercise number 4, you also are required to code for constructor, the constructor encode and decoding method also. Idea from here, everything. And of course, at the end, I also put the link, useful link for you from here. The example for you already, how to make it. And the task for you here is to read and understand and make use of this to the exercise. This is a fiber instance, blood encryption and decryption from this link. I will open it for you. Okay, again. For example, have a message as SGSD, and you enter the key 4. So A shift before will be E, right? As shift 4 will be B. We go back the loop to the alphabet. So the S, Y, yes, A, B, đó. And then we have B, okay? And yes, like this, and D. So with the shift before. And the way they decrypt, for example, in this case, the opposite, we have the output here and the key, the number, and then they ship back to the message, original message. All right, and have a look at this. And at the last, I put the static members that already mentioned here. So for this lab, we have 1 week to finish, okay, with a 5 exercise. And next week, at the time around this time in the morning, we have the test, the final test, and I will send the you all the message and the revise some important notes for you to prepare for the next week final the last test. The test will be it take about 10% of your marks at the whole. Huh? All right, and that is for today. So if you have any questions, just test on the chat box and send me email here. Maybe someone tell me that send email and cannot get the answer. Maybe I missed this email, so just miss through this email. And if okay, in case unluckily you cannot get the feedback around 2 or 3 days, just um resend it again. Maybe I just missed it from the mail post. And that is for today for first class. Uh, Thank you. And now I will put the attendance link here, and you can come and check. Okay. From here, I put the link, check attendance from class here, and it's up to you. You can CC01 or O2 is okay. You can drop in and make use of the slide I provided as a guideline and the instruction for you to take the lab. And remember, we also have the quiz for the lab also. Okay. And today is the deadline for Lab 7. All right. And that is for the first session. Goodbye, everyone. And the people from the next, I will continue in 5 minutes. Okay. And people should join at the beginning of this morning. You can check the attendance and leave the conference call. Thank you. So drop me an email, okay?